look at us, we're going to be so method. But it was actually really, I thought, quite effective. That was like a really scary scene to shoot, but it felt like rewarding work.
Something horrible happened.
Yeah.
I want it to be like, it felt like I was alive for the first time. It was amazing. Oh, I could do it. I could go and find my English dream. You know, estate grounds, verdant gardens.
Good luck with that, love.
Oh, shit!
Oh my God, I'm in hell.
We met at Working Title, didn't we? Mm-hmm. It was like a rehearsal day.
I was really jet lagged, and I wasn't being that funny. I wasn't shining that day.
You were still funny, but like there was another gear.
It wasn't a lot
There was another gear.
Yeah. It was really nice we definitely clicked, but I feel like when we started filming is when we really started joking around.
Yeah, it was nice actually that we'd met and we'd done some rehearsing and talked through the scenes with Lena, but I guess because the characters are kind of getting to know each other, they're sort of meeting in the show, so it was nice that we didn't kind of overcook it at the beginning, so that there was still a bit of kind of like meeting to do in the process of making it.
I think a lot of it is definitely in the writing. Lena she just knows how to write real people, and even if like I feel like when Jessica's doing something crazy like breaking into her ex's house, it's still like somehow relatable. Like you're still like, oh, I know how that feels, and I could see being one step away from doing that.
Do you relate to your characters at all?
Yeah, I guess you're always trying to find a way in. So like, and what can you use, and trying to understand it from their point of view. Like, how might they be feeling? Why would they say this? And why, like, how do they get to the point where they're making the mistakes that they're making? I think a big part of it for me was like how both of our characters have sort of turned some kind of corner. They're trying to be someone new. Like Felix has got clean not that long ago, and he's trying to make his own music and be a better person. And kind of like as Jess and Felix get closer, it's kind of like suddenly your vulnerabilities kind of bubble up and kind of, well, am I worthy of this? Is this real? Do I deserve this? What if they find this stuff out? And all of that I felt like was like so in the scripts, like you said, but like really fertile to work with.
A lot of stuff went down in New York. My ex-boyfriend is living with another woman right now. Oh my God!
Do you want me to murder them?
Yeah. I want you to cut their heads off and sew them back on.
It was one of the amazing things about working on the show is that like every week there's somebody, like some new hero to meet and like maybe even do scenes with. I felt like Jennifer Saunders like interpreted her character so cleverly, because obviously she's hilarious, but there was also like something darker going on, and it really brought out like a seriousness in those scenes where it was kind of like, oh, this is about how like Felix doesn't know how to protect himself or something. I really loved what she did with that part.
I'm so attached to Andrew Scott. I love all of them though. Everybody, just Rita Wilson, like everyone's been so amazing. They're so like, everyone's been like cool about doing a little improv, like everyone's so funny. Andrew Scott, I couldn't stop laughing with him.
He's such a recognizable, like, you're like, I swear I've met this guy somewhere. It was so funny. It was fun. There's like a really heated argument we have like right towards the end where Lena kept us separate for the whole morning because she didn't want us to be sort of joking around in the makeup trailer. And we were sort of like, oh yeah, that would be cool, but also kind of be like, look at us, we're gonna be so method. But it was actually really, I thought, quite effective because it reminded you this is a really crucial scene, and to take it seriously. And she cross-shot it so that we could basically overlap as much as we wanted, and we could again sort of improvise within like the framework of the scene. That was like a really scary scene to shoot, but it felt like rewarding work.
Yeah. But you were probably scared too because you didn't really get to laugh with me in the trailer before. Because we have so much fun in the mornings. It was actually pretty sad.
Yeah.
And it felt afterwards, because then you shot something directly after, and I was like, there was no time to be like, haha, it's so crazy. And so then I was like, is he mad at me? It's like out of a movie.
Yeah, a horror movie. These people are full of pent-up rage and dark secrets.
I know, but look, it's a yellow house.
Is there anything that confuses you when you're in the US or you when you're in the UK or even while you were filming that you realised was a point of difference?
I definitely think, like I've had it I remember at South by Southwest once, somebody was like, "How did the screening go?" And I went, "Yeah, it was fine." And they were like, "Oh no, what went wrong?" And I was like, "No, it was fine. It was fine." Like, but I needed to be like, "It was amazing," is how I felt coming out of that. But maybe that's changed over time. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. If you said like, "Yeah, I thought it went fine," then I'd be like, "Okay, literally something horrible happened."
Yeah.
I want it to be like, "Oh, it felt like I was alive for the first time. It was amazing. Oh, felt like I won the lottery." I think. Well, I don't think this is a thing that's all over, but someone was telling me yesterday that when you say it's that tea time's dinner sometimes, and that doesn't make really sense to me because you're not actually having tea at the dinner.
Yeah, some people call dinner tea, some people call it dinner, some people call it supper, and it kind of gives you a clue.
Supper's
about,
kind of cute. That's kind of like we're just a couple of bears in the house.
Yeah.
Making porridge at supper time. Papa.
Supper's quite old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite sort of posh, I'd say.
Tea's confusing though, because then don't you also have tea time, which is tea? Or no.
Yeah, like, I guess like
Afternoon tea's tea.
have your tea. Yeah, tea's a bit more regional, I would say. Like
I was going to say the regional thing that won't help
Okay,
you understand.
okay,
yeah.
Unfortunately, we all talk completely differently.
Yeah, yeah.